And we are live for another day of the Love Mastery podcast. And I am so excited. We have had so much fun before we even started today. And I am so flattered to bring to you and to everyone that shares this space with me because today we just have another episode of the Love Mastery podcast where we get to have real conversations. For the ones that know me, you know I love to talk about reality, the raw truth about love, about life, relationship, leadership, entrepreneurship. And today I'm excited to welcome Pixie Grace. And we were just having such a blast, and maybe we'll cover something about that because it's also good. This is what happy rooms come into. We just have to have fun while we're doing amazing work and serving this world. And she's not only one of the most beautiful women that I have met, and we go back, I think, from Alpha Femme. And for anyone that knows me, I've been in Alpha Femme for since 2022, and so many amazing people that I have met from that community. So I'm also grateful and appreciated of Melanie and Layer for bringing so many people together. And she is also an identity messaging strategist because who are you here to become? You're here to become obvious, fucking of course. And with she helps amazing entrepreneurs become obvious, of course, but through conviction, through clarity, to authentic and power of leadership, not just becoming motivational, because I was that person. And with her also, I started creating more authority, more positioning in my world. And let me tell you, it takes some practice to get out of that comfort zone, to be the kind person and to be who the fuck you're here to be. So, Pixie, thank you so much for being here. I am honored to have you.
Thank
And
you.
for this amazing people that don't know you yet, are you the bold girl? Who are you?
Oh my gosh. I would say that most people would probably say I'm pretty bold. I'm very straightforward. That's probably the way I would describe myself. I think being bold is a natural expression for me. I've always been kind of quirky and kind of interesting. I would say I'm very like blunt, truth teller, in really just want to make sure that everything is so stupid simple. Like I want things to be very straightforward, very black and white, very like this is the way to do things for you. And so the nuance in my life really comes into an individual perspective. Every single person's an individual. Every single person has their story, has their way of doing things. And I think that for me, I can see whether or not something is absolutely right for you or it's not. And that is the way that I like to show up, not just online in business, but in every single thing that I do. So I would say that most people in my like offline real life would say that I am somebody that's just very straightforward and someone who says it like it is and who fiercely believes in people. And I would say that that's my friends, my family, as well as my clients, my audience, people who are my biz besties. I am the person that is going to be really rooting for people, really encouraging others to be more of themselves. And that is in every single thing that I do. I fiercely believe in people, and I can see exactly why someone is not having the life that they want to be having.
I love that. Thank you so much. And you often talk about identity, and this is such an important game. I mean, I think of life sometimes as a game, and I'm here to win and learn through the experience. But I think this is one of the most important um, decision. To me, it's just a decision, right? And when we talk about identity, how has understanding your own identity changed the way you love yourself?
That's an amazing question. I think that really understanding my identity has changed the way that I love myself by falling in love with all these different pieces, all these different parts, all these different things. So I grew up not knowing that I was autistic. And so really discovering that part of myself opened up a lot of doors that weren't open before. It gave me a lot of perspective that I didn't have and made me fall in love with a lot of different parts of myself that previously I was more confused about or more like, I have no idea why I'm like this. But I think that for me, for a very long time in my life, I had a lot of self confidence. I really loved myself. I remember being 15, 14 years old. And at my school, I had the wisdom and the knowledge to go into this junior high school that I was in. And I started a trend with my friends, and then it broke out into other groups of friends where it was really like, hey, let's build each other up. Let's compliment each other. Let's be there for each other. I was like, all of us feel awkward right now. All of us feel weird. All of us are going through like this brand new experience of like not being like little kids anymore, but not being adults. Like we should all really come together. And I remember having these conversations with my friends back then, motivating each other, complimenting each other. And to be 14 years old, 15 years old, and in that space with that kind of wisdom and that kind of mentality of like, hey, we should lift each other up, while also being like the weird kid, like being somebody that I used to dress very goth. I used to wear the black lipstick, the black eyeliner. Like I was very edgy, very, very alternative. And even in those moments, I was like fully and completely owning myself. And so from a very young age, I was already very fascinated by the way that I approached the world, the way that my mind worked, the way that I showed up. And that has carried into the rest of my life. And so I have been this bold, in your face kind of person for a very long time, but that's just who I am. I am somebody who naturally likes quirky things and naturally likes alternative styles and naturally wants to be in this full expression of self. And so I really love leading people into that full expression of themselves as well. So when it comes to being in love with myself and really being in that space, I think it was just learning more about myself as time went on, as I got older, as I faced different challenges, heartache, craziness, really being able to discover, how do I approach situations? How does my mind operate? It's almost like looking at yourself as an outside perspective while also completely living your life. And I think that that might be an autistic experience more than it would be for a neurotypical person.
That's beautiful. And I love you sharing that, because a lot of people I know in this world could resonate so much, and thinking that some people, I have actually heard them, I can't do this because this is what I have. And I think it's bullshit. I think that everyone is entitled to just express themselves, be themselves, and show the world what they're here to do and serve. And you shared that love taught you people don't have to see the world the way that you do, right? For you. And but you care so deeply about them, and there's no right or wrong of seeing the world, I see.
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes to that, what has taught you of sharing the world that you see
Mhm.
apart from other people?
Yeah, I think that like for me, it's really been a fascination with, how do other people approach life? Why do people think the way that they think? Why do people act the way that they act? I've been fascinated with the discovery of how people communicate for much longer than I've been really doing this professionally. And so I've been in business for over a decade, really focused on marketing and messaging and identity work. But even before that, I've been very interested in, why do people think what they think? Why do people believe what they believe? Why do people show up the way that they show up? And how does that really get translated in not just the words that they say, but in the actions that they take? And so I have been somebody that has had this interest in people and in humans and behavior and all of those things for a very, very long time. And I just think that that's something that I'm never going to get tired of really discovering for people. I have a lot of clients very often tell me, you're the first person that I really feel like has truly understood me, or have told me, I feel like you just read my mind, or have told me, I feel like your content speaks directly to me. And that's not an accident. I have decades of studying human behavior underneath my belt because it has been an interest of mine for my entire life.
Oh, I love that. And and you have worked with so many amazing, ambitious women, high achievers, successful people that are starting in the beginning stages, just curious about the work that you do. What qualities make someone, based on your human behavior experience, what quality does actually make someone truly high value partner through your eyes?
Can you rephrase that question? Like, do you mean
Like,
like
let's
in a
when
romantic
it comes
way?
when it no, when it comes to just a person in the industry, let's say,
Mhm.
for instance, yeah, just as what quality will make truly a high value partner. It could be a relationship, but I would say now that we're talking about identity in their true essence of who they are.
I think what quality makes somebody high value is really a couple of different things. It goes into your willingness to be adaptable, to learn, to grow, to challenge the beliefs that you have and to keep challenging them. One of the things that people become very complacent with is messaging, it is marketing, it is saying the same things and talking to the same audiences. People have this tendency at times to not even question whether or not the things that they started off believing about the work that they do or the way that they present themselves online is still what they believe to this day. And I think that high value leaders are constantly questioning, what do I believe now? What do I want to share? What do I believe about the people who I'm here to serve and the people who I'm here to connect with? What do I believe about the work that I'm doing and the way that I'm doing it? And I think that for so many people, they don't take enough time to really get into those questions. And that adaptability makes somebody, not just in business, but in life, in friendship, and partnerships, and romance, and everything. Adaptability is a very important trait that makes somebody an incredible partner, an incredible leader, an incredible mentor, an incredible friend. Your ability to be adaptable and to really question yourself and to continue to grow and can continue to discover more about you really is a game changer. I think people stop learning and stop growing, and those people start becoming someone that stops feeling very attached to life in a positive way. And so, as far as leaders go, as far as relationships go, adaptability can take you a long, long ways.
Yes, that is so definitely so true. I resonate so much. And through my own experience, I said, no, I think this is attachment. I think it's time to go. I think, and your heart is telling you there's more. There's always so much more. So I think the high value also, it comes with that self-awareness. Yes, it's time to move. It's time to continue. There's always more at every level. And this is not just defining, because a lot of people think of high value because they make, I don't know, certain amount of tax bracket. I don't consider that high value. I mean, yes and no, right? Because that person, in order to get there, also had to do their work. So then what did that person do to get there? And then a lot of people don't see it that way. And it's good to speak about this because a lot of people don't. And they have this misperception of high value, high quality, and all that goodness. So it's good to talk about it because we're always growing, everyone. Everyone watching here live or the replay. We're always growing and it's beautiful. And in these type of rooms, there's always an alignment phase. We're either aligned or we're not. And then maybe it doesn't mean that you cannot be at some point, but are you doing the work? That's another question.
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful to see it. Let's talk about entrepreneurship. Well, actually, let's talk about relationships since we were talking about this. And I love this. And because I know entrepreneurship could be so hard and it will expose you at so many levels in different lives from not only yourself, but in also in relationship and the type of business that you want to grow. Because a lot of people just start just doing things out of the blue, just creating. That was
Yeah.
me. I created so many things and then I did it. And then I'm like, what's next? Until I actually came into something that I really was real passionate about. That doesn't mean that I wasn't passionate before. It's just that it's a higher calling that was making me feel more at home.
Yes.
And so entrepreneurship can be challenging for a lot of people in every relationship we have. And how have you protected your marriage or while you're building your business?
It's a great question. And I think that for me, I've been with my husband for nearly 17 years. And so I have a very, very long relationship. My husband is my absolute best friend. We are literally the definition of best friends. And we've gone through a lot because I met him when I was 19 and he was 21 and we were kids essentially. Like we had such a little awareness of what life was going to bring us and how things were going to change and transform. And in my journey of entrepreneurship, I had to learn how to balance really showing up for my business and showing up for my clients and showing up for marketing and doing all the things while balancing showing up for my marriage, showing up for my relationship, showing up in a way that continued to nurture the connection that I have with my husband. And what has really made the biggest difference in that is simply not just communicating, but really listening, really understanding, really making sure that I was taking the time to be like, okay. And so it was turning off my phone and leaving it on the charger when we were going to spend time together. It was making sure that I wasn't constantly being like, oh my gosh, wait, I have to check this message real quick. Wait, like somebody messaged me, somebody's interested. And that's a twofold thing because on one hand, it is the actual action of plugging my phone in and turning my phone off and really spending that quality time with my husband. But on the other hand, it's also that self trust, right? It's the trust not only in yourself, but the trust in my business is going to work without me being literally glued to my phone all day. My business is going to succeed without me having to check whether or not somebody liked or commented or reached out because I posted that post. That is a very big trust factor that comes in when you're like, okay, I'm trying to make this thing work. I need to make sure that I am trusting that I don't have to be on all the time. And mind you, I am a Capricorn stellium. I love working. People are like, I want to work 4 hours a week. I'm like, I want to work all the time. I love serving clients. I love showing up. I love marketing. I love doing all of the things. I will never not love it. It is literally my favorite thing to do. I love creating content. So for me, I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, I want more free time. It is more so really understanding that there are more passions in my life than just business. Business is a huge factor. I think on your questionnaire, it was like, who are you outside of business? I'm like, business is life. Like, that's it. Business is my life. It is what I do, it's who I am. There is not a separation between business and self. And so, with the success of my relationships and my friendships and the things that I've gone through, with family, the most important thing is remembering the passion that you have for other things outside of just the business and just the success, having the self trust, having the ability to say, you know what, things are going to work whether I'm glued to my phone or not. Everything is going to work for me. Communication and listening, because every single relationship that I have in my life is intentional. My friendships are intentional. My marriage is intentional. Even my relationship with my freaking cats is intentional. I will put down my phone these days. I'll have my cat jump on my lap and I'll put down my phone and I'll say, you know what? I'm going to spend time staring into my cat's eyes while I hold her. And I'm going to appreciate that I have this moment with this tiny little cute soul where I'm staring into her eyes. My phone's not that fucking important right now. Okay. My phone isn't that important to have a couple of minutes where I'm like look at this cute freaking thing that I get to have, that I get to experience. And I think that when it comes to the success of a relationship, whether it's with a spouse, a friend, or a pet, the important thing is to remember to really be present and really be intentional and really listen to what is that person or what is that pet really wanting in this moment? What is it that is going to serve the relationship? Because what is serving you outside of business will bleed back into your business and create more success, more fulfillment, more joy, and ultimately more money.
Yeah, I love it. I totally feel you with the cat. I have a dog and I don't have kids, so that's my life. So in every time, and it doesn't matter, I always take breaks from either if I'm working on something on the computer. And actually for my birthday last month, I actually blocked all month. I still work,
Mhm.
but I wasn't open basically. I only took the people that were referred to me, and then I booked them. And then I was in love with that because I wanted to celebrate 31 days. I called it 31 Days of Glow the Fuck Up Edition. But it's because of that. The glow up, it was not like, oh, this is me, blah blah blah. I could say no, it was because every day I wanted to do something that made me extremely happy without having to be at work. And you can
Yeah.
still work while being disconnected. And a lot of people have not had that detachment yet.
Yeah.
And sometimes while I'm working, like I went and cooked, I went and I had this amazing time cooking, and then I'll just go and chill with my doggies and do story times with them. I mean, I'm in a cloud of happiness, and I love that for you because in reality, it gets to be fun. It gets to be more easier than having to be on a damn fucking computer all day long when in reality, you need that time and space to co-create again.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It's so important to really take the time to co-create, take the time to do other things aside from just being glued to your phone, hooked up to your business, answering all the things. Like that is really for any of us, even those of us like myself who love business and who would love to work all day every day. We have lives outside of business. We have things to do outside of just doing business. And it is important to remember that there is so much more than just that. Even for those of us who want to work all day, every day, we have things that are so beautiful about our lives. And I think it's so important to really take those moments and be like, okay, and really challenge the parts that come up, whether you're feeling guilty about taking time away from your business, whether you feel like things aren't going to work, like really take the time to observe those things because that's going to tell you a lot about where your blind spots are. It's going to tell you a lot about what is actually preventing you from having success be so easy and having it be so much more fulfilling.
Fulfilling is a big word, and I call it fulfilling, and then it becomes a pleasure. It's like, oh, it's so good. And so let's talk a lot of we always talk about the good thing. We get excited. We're always celebrating because we are here to celebrate every breakthrough, every from darkness to like turning pain into power, all the good stuff that we've been all through. It's a journey, it's a life experience. But during those years that you probably questioned yourself but kept showing up, what helped you continue instead of giving up?
So I love this question. I think that for me, there was never an option to give up. Like even in my darkest, like most like, oh my God, this isn't working moments, like there was never an option to give up. It is this and nothing else. So I had to really continue to persevere because I didn't give myself a second option. I wasn't like, oh, I'll just go get a job or like, I'm just going to try out entrepreneurship. This is everything to me. And because of that, I really put in the work and put in the dedication and put in the time and showed up anyways. One of the big things that I will always do if I am in any sort of lull, if I'm not feeling 100%, if I'm like, "Ugh, business isn't going exactly the way I want it to go, is I will always put myself into a space of service. I will always put myself into a space of how can I give back? How can I do things? And there's been moments where people are like, "Oh my gosh, I wouldn't do that." Or like, I wouldn't promote something like that, or I wouldn't do something like that. Like I've had moments in my business where I'm like, I'm just going to do like a pay what you want to like have a 20-minute session with me. Why? Because 20 minutes is going to give a lot to myself and it's going to give a lot to somebody else. And so I'm like, cool, you want to pay what you can to have a session with me? Amazing. Because those are the moments where I get my spark back, I get my joy back. I remember why I'm doing this because I'm not just doing this to make a lot of money. I'm doing this because I actually genuinely love it. And so in those moments where business has gotten hard, where things have gotten a little chaotic, where things have been not exactly the way I wanted them, I really focused on service. I focused on how can I show up? How can I give back? How can I give more? How can I do more? I used to do a lot of live broadcasts for that reason. Like I said, amazing deals to work with me. I have reached out to people and just given them compliments and been like, you know what? I love your content and genuine compliments, not just reaching out to somebody for the sake of reaching out to them, but really reaching out to someone being like, I have seen this person's content all over my newsfeed and I just want to reach out and be like, hey, I actually really love what you're doing right now. And sometimes that has genuinely made somebody's day. And they've been like, thank you, because I have felt recently like things are crazy. And so it meant a lot for you to show up and for you to say that. And I think that for me, it's always going to be one of those things where the more that I'm able to pour into other people, the more that I am able to really come back to myself, the faster I'm able to come back to myself, the more I feel reconnected to my purpose, reconnected to why I'm doing this. Because once again, it was never an option to not do business. It was never an option to give up. It was never an option to stop. It was never an option to choose something else. It is this and nothing else. So I've had to really navigate those moments and find out how do I continue to show up in a way that's going to actually be beneficial. And the best way for me to do that has always been to get back into a space of service, to get back into a space of connection, to get back into really uplifting other people.
Yeah, love it, love it. And you know, when it comes to that, and I agree 100% on it, I think we're here to serve and it's beautiful to serve people. It's beautiful to see the outcome. It's beautiful to comment and compliment someone and those DMs turns into gold. I really resonate with that. And but you know, when it comes to mindset shift that help you to trust yourself more, what name one that could actually impact someone nowadays that is still trying to build their self-trust?
Small moments of self trust build self trust. Okay. The best thing I can tell you, and it doesn't have to be about business, best thing I can tell you, small moments of self trust. If you tell yourself you're going to wake up when your alarm goes off, get up. If you tell yourself you're going to make your bed in the morning, make your bed. If you tell yourself you're going to go to the gym, go to the gym. If you tell yourself you're going to read this month, read. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, do it. And start building that self trust with things that were 100% in your control. Because sometimes we say, I'll trust this when something that's not 100% in my control happens. Not, then I'll trust myself. Start with the things that are 100% in your control. That is the best way to build self trust because a lot of us are trying to build self trust when we break our trust every single day, when we say, oh, I'm going to eat more healthy tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and what are you doing? Not eating more healthy. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, and you don't go to the gym. I'm going to read one book every month this year. And then it is August, and you haven't read a book. You need to build self trust with things that are 100% in your control and things that are small because that is going to build self trust for other things. Now, when it comes to the bigger things, the things that are outside of our control, you might not be able to control everything, but you can always control how you think and how you approach a situation. And so you can always control feeling a little bit better. One of the things that I've talked to people about, not just my clients and in business, but also in my personal life, is we have a tendency as humans to take something that is true and add things onto it that are not true. And I'm going to give you an example of this, right? Imagine that you're in a relationship and it ends. It is true that your relationship ended. It's 100% true. I can't argue it. You can't argue it. Your relationship ended. What is not true, where people will often go in those spaces, is I'm unlovable. I'm never going to find love. I can't hold down a relationship. Nobody cares, blah, 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 blah. And we'll say, well, all of this is true now because it's connected to something true. And we do this in relationships. We do this in business. We do this in all different ways because humans have this tendency to really love coupling stories with things that are facts and saying, well, they're all facts now. So, what we can do in those situations where we are trying to build self trust is really notice where we are adding stories to something that is a true fact, but those things are not necessarily true, right? If you're like, oh my gosh, I posted and nobody commented and I didn't make a sales, nobody wants this. Well, is that really true? Or is the truth that you posted and you haven't made a sale yet? And so it's really getting into those spaces where you start understanding what are you committing to as truth and what are you telling yourself? Because once again, you are always 100% responsible and in control of finding those points and then committing to not really messing yourself up, shitting all over yourself, fucking up your mindset because you can say, okay, it is true. I didn't make a sale on this thing and I really wanted to. What's not true is that means I'm doomed and nobody wants to pay me. Really allowing yourself to become the master of your own mind, the master of your own stories is going to build that self-trust. And it's going to help in those moments where you feel really low to have that in your arsenal, to come back to it and say, okay, I am returning to my truth. I'm returning to that space and that identity of who I said I was going to be and who I am committed to being now, tomorrow, and forever.
I love that. That is so true. We could be our worst enemies, and it takes us. It takes that self-awareness. Stop it. It's like the little angel with the devil. Shut the fuck up.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
basically. And it is good. It's a good subject because I know that a lot of people struggle. I did a lot. I have mastered not all of it, but I think that the good thing about me is that as soon as I'm aware, I bring it back. I'm like, I'm done, and then I'll just go do something else. Why
Yep.
am I thinking about it? I just move. I'm like, there's something over there. Like Dory, oh, there's something. There's a little birdie. I don't know. I'm
Yes.
always in
Yes.
a cloud. So yeah, I love that. I love that. Um, and let's talk about the good stuff in entrepreneurship and leadership. This is one of the biggest in when it comes to entrepreneurs nowadays. You say that most people don't have a sales problem, right? And they have a convention problem. What do you mean by that for the ones that are not certain on this?
So most people are hinging their conviction and hinging how much they believe in themselves on external factors, right? They are really good at being like, okay, I'm going to be the person, I'm going to be the one, and they choose this identity and then they make it contingent on other people, other situations, other things, and they stop really allowing themselves to be, this is who I am no matter what is going on outside of myself. That is what I mean when I talk about that, because so many people are really good at deciding I'm going to be this version of myself who's successful, who's confident, who's doing this until something else gets in the way. it is so important to really come back to yourself and be like, okay, what am I telling myself that I am either not or I am if this doesn't work out? Right. So people will be like, okay, I want to sell out this offer. Okay, well, what if it doesn't sell out? Well, if it doesn't sell out, then I'm a failure. Okay, so you're letting whether or not this offer sells out determine whether or not you are a failure. That's your identity. I am a failure if this doesn't sell out. And then we wonder why we have these circumstances where we can't hold on to an identity that we really want to hold on to. And it is because our identity is often linked up to something that it never should have linked up to in the first place. So the most important thing is to go, okay, I am successful no matter what. I am successful even if my next 10 launches do not pan out the way that I want them to. I am successful even if this person who I was so sure was going to pay me doesn't pay me. I am successful even if this actually doesn't happen the way I think it should be happening. It's like, I know I'm a freaking catch. Even if my husband was to come home today and said, you know what? I don't love you anymore. I'm sorry. I fell out of love with you. I don't love you anymore. My worth is not up for debate. I know I'm fucking awesome. It would suck because we've been together for so long, but it would mean nothing about me because I'm still incredible. And there's so many people I know who'd still think that I'm incredible, who would still think I am sexy and fun and cool and interesting and all those things. And so when you are really in that space, you need to understand, what are you allowing to shake your identity? What are you allowing to come in and be like, okay, I am successful unless this happens? No, there's no unless. That is who you are. I am 100% locked into the identity that I am successful, that I am talented, that I am smart, that I am incredible, that I'm deserving of love. That is what I am locked into. And even in those moments where it will waver, it's like it's attached to this rubber band, right? So it'll go out like a little ping pong, right? I might like hit it out and I'll feel like I'm way over there. And I'm like, oh my God. The ability for it to come back, that's that rubber band effect. It goes out, boom, and then it comes right back because your center of who you are needs to be so strong that the gravitational pull of that identity will never not bring any of the pieces of yourself that sometimes shoot off and feel crazy back to your center. That is where most people are missing the mark. That is where most people do not have that locked in identity because they say, okay, this is who I am, but they do not have that rubber band effect. When you are able to really lock into that, nothing outside of you can shake you for very long because even when you get shaken, you come right back to yourself. You come right back to remembering, oh, wait, I remember who I am. I remember that this is my truth. This is my identity. This is who I am, no matter what anything outside of me is doing.
That is so beautiful. You're exactly right. And one of the things that and a lot of people in this world doesn't actually understand that that will also affect when it comes to wealth. And that is one of the biggest. So let's talk about money for a second, since we're talking about identity, and that's one of the biggest in this world. Um, what at what point, and let me rephrase this, at what point does someone identity begin affecting their income if they don't do exactly with this effect or any other effects when it comes to identity?
I think that it's really dependent on the person, right? And it is always going to be dependent on the identity. It's always going to be dependent. But to the degree of which it's going to affect your money is going to be really a person by person basis. Your baseline always determines what you're experiencing. The identity that you're locked into will always determine what you experience. It is why there are people who are like, okay, I know no matter what, I always make this much money. No matter what, I always have enough money to cover my necessities. There are people who are like, I don't know why, no matter what I do, I can't get out of just having enough, right? There are people who are like, I always have enough, but it's only enough. I don't have excess. I just have enough. And then there are people who are like, I always make enough and then some, but I still can't get to this level. And then there's people like, no matter what, like money just loves me and it comes to me. So the degree of which you're going to be affected by not being locked into an identity is going to vary person by person based on what your current baseline identity is in the first place. And you will notice this not just with money, but with relationships, with love, with all kinds of things, because your identity is literally shaping your reality every single second. That is why it's so important when I work with my clients to update an identity alongside the messaging and the positioning and the marketing. It is, who are you being? Because if I change your entire message, but you don't change, you're probably going to have the same results. You're just going to have way better messaging. Your message is going to look really, really nice. And you're going to wonder why your message looks really, really nice. And yet you're getting the same result. And it is because identity is what actually changes things. And so your baseline identity is always going to be where you return to. You want to update your baseline identity. That's where the work comes in. That's where asking yourself those questions about who am I if this doesn't work out? That's where really paying attention to the thoughts and the feelings and the ideas and everything that comes up really becomes so crucial, because that is where you're going to return to. If you want to have a better, bigger life, you need to become the person whose baseline is having a better, bigger life.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let me ask you a rapid, if I tell you these words, just name one word that comes, it just comes automatically out of your head. This is like my rapid fire. It's fun. It's just a game. Love is, just tell me whatever comes out.
Beautiful. Love is beautiful.
Ah, success is,
Desirable.
leadership is,
Inevitable.
confidence comes from.
Loving yourself.
One word that describes your life today.
Miraculous.
I love this. Pixie, tell everyone where they could find your beautiful essence today.
I hang out mostly on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, that is where you can find me. That is where you can see all the things that I'm doing. It is my current favorite platform. So everything I have is on there. If you saw this episode and you loved this, feel free to reach out. Feel free to jump in my inbox. Feel free to tell me. I love words of affirmation. I love compliments. So if anyone's just like, hey, I saw this and I thought it was really good, let me know.
I love that. And if you could share one thing with the world, let's say, for instance, the world needs more of.
Understanding. The world needs more understanding. And what I mean specifically by that is really taking the time to hear, to listen, and to understand both yourself and understand others. That is why I do what I do, because I believe that the more that we are able to effectively communicate our identity and our messaging, the more that we are able to connect with the people who need us, the more that we are able to impact the lives of those around us and our own lives. And that all comes from understanding. You can communicate until you are blue in the face, but if you do not actually understand, it will not do anything. That is where we really need to get to, is a space of understanding. And that only comes from understanding yourself first and then having the willingness to listen and to understand somebody else.
Oh, I love that. Woo, we're getting deep. It's only the beginning. Everyone, you know where to find Pixie. Grace is beautiful. Thank you, Pixie, for being here and sharing your story with the world. And your heart with us today, your knowledge, your wisdom, your essence, your energy, just sharing time in this space. I appreciate the reminder that we all need in this world, and it's just clarity starts within, we all find ourselves looking outside of us, but it's inner. It's so inside of us. And we just love these conversations that could allow people to continue to step fucking in, just dive in and try to figure it out and try it on. Try it on because most likely it will fit once you break through. To everyone watching and listening, remember the way you love yourself so much. And I'm so passionate about love because love also broke me. Love also built me. And I'm here because of the love that I have for me, for the people in this world, and for the people that I serve. But the way you lead yourself, the way you build your relationships, the way you create business, and it doesn't matter what you have grown. Send love and continue fucking go on. Live the life that you've been craving for. The only way you can experience life with not giving two fucks about what anybody says is just living every day as this your last day. Today I'm gonna do this. This makes me fucking extremely happy. Do that and start there and continue to create from that space of love, and you will see when life starts just working for you. And like when I was working with you, fall in love with yourself, and it's life is so fucking in love with you that it's inevitable that it will give you the life you desire and crave. So fucking go do it. Thank you for being here in the Love Mastery. It's always an honor having everyone here, and I will see you on the next one.